Hello, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, inviting you to another edition of Your Missoula. In this edition of Your Missoula, we're going to talk about the Missoula Tenants Association, the Missoula Tenants Union. And to talk about it in the studio is Juli Sander. Welcome, Julie. Thank you for taking the time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Most welcome. So we were chatting a little before recording, and I thought it'd be interesting for people to get an overview of what the Missoula Tenants Union is all about.
Yes, so the Missoula Tenants Union, we're a 501c4, and we essentially aim to organize tenants in Missoula. Right now, Missoula roughly is made up about 52% of tenants, and there are almost no tenant protections. And we are at a time where, a lot of tenants are unfortunately being really exploited by landlords, whether they be out-of-state corporate landlords or local. And, it's time to build solidarity and to build power and to fight back. And so that's what we first and foremost aim to do here in Missoula.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We were just visiting, for instance, with Sam Oliver of the Missoula Housing Authority. And in that discussion, we talked about how complicated life has become. And when you're not up on all this legal stuff, when you don't really know how things work,
Correct.
it does seem easier to be intimidated, right? Like you don't own anything and the people who own it say this is the way it is to be. So one of the objects of the Missoula Tenants Union is to bring people together and educate them about laws involving renters' rights and things like this.
Yeah, and even more so what we essentially are aiming for, like you said, it is very scary for so many tenants, and to go up against a landlord by yourself is so intimidating, and there's so much knowledge that is withheld from renters and able to be to fight back and to advocate for themselves. But when you are a part of a tenants union, and for instance, if you organize your building or your trailer park or wherever you're living, if you stand up to the landlord together with all your neighbors, you have such a bigger chance of having these discussions with them, to coming to bargaining tables, to getting your issues resolved. Because that's first and foremost what we want to see. We want to see a more fair and just Missoula for renters.
And how did you get an interest in it? How did you get started in the Tenants Union?
Yeah, so I originally joined about 3 years ago, and it was just because I was really fed up across the board with how expensive rents were getting in Missoula, and also just the housing crisis at large here in this country. And I started to join up, and it's been really incredible to see how far the Tenants Union has come in those 3 years. And now we are really focused on building organizing, which is helping, if people reach out to us like Travois Village, to help them organize all of their neighbors together into their own union. And additionally, we have our Right to Counsel campaign, which would ensure a lawyer in every eviction case for a tenant. So there's a lot of really cool things coming up. When I originally started with the Missoula Tenants Union, I was really involved with the Arts and Communications Committee. So if you are someone who, for instance, wants to become involved, and you're an artist, for instance, our Arts and Communications Committee is incredible. We have so many awesome people there, and you could just, create things for different events and different, we make t-shirts and signs and all sorts of stuff as well. So it's kind of just wherever your skill sets fit. And so that's where mine did. And now I'm also becoming a lot more involved with building organizing, which has been great. But that's the one amazing thing I love about the Missoula Tenants Union, is whatever your skill set is, you can essentially, there's a spot for you. It takes a village, and we can use everyone's different skill sets to build a better Missoula.
And people can learn more about it by going online. Scott's going to show it to you at home. And this is the MissoulaTenantsUnion.com.
Correct.
But you guys are a nonprofit.
Yes, a 501c4.
Yeah, C4.
Yes.
So we're a C3.
Yeah.
So fours get to advocate politically?
Correct. That is the main difference. So.
Yeah. And so people can make tax-deductible donations to the Tenants Union, or no, because of the
No.
political activity?
Correct. So because it is a 501c4, you unfortunately cannot write off your donations, but please still donate to us if you're
Yeah, why not?
invested in the cause. Just because, well, Missoula Tenants Union, we're all funded by our membership dues. We're not funded by any grants at the moment, even though we hope to in the future. And so it's literally all funded by all of us tenants. And it's really incredible because then we can use those funds to essentially, fund whatever programming or whatever initiatives that we want to spearhead.
Yeah.
And so we're all working class people. We're all are in the struggle together. We are every month giving, $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever we can spare to our membership dues. And so any and all donations go such a long way for us. If you saw what we did at Travois Village in September and want to support us being able to do that more for other properties in this town, please donate to us because it's not cheap to organize sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's something that we're all so passionate about, and we're I wouldn't let the 501c4 status stop you if this is something that you're wanting to contribute to.
And explain to folks a little more about the Travois Village situation, because I know it was in the paper and Scott was out there doing like a live stream of the meeting, and I saw it and there were a lot of people involved, but people watching may not know what the whole context was and what happened.
Yes. So essentially what happened is 2 years ago, an out-of-state property management company called Oakwood Properties acquired Travois Village, and they additionally acquired Harvey's in Bonner as well. They have 85 properties across 10 states, and essentially they are just showing absolute corporate greed. What's really difficult is that Travois Village has been an affordable housing option for Missoulians for decades. There are residents there who have been
Trailer park, so you own your trailer and rent the lot, which
Correct.
brings the total rent down. The trailer's affordable, and in tandem, you're leasing the ground underneath that,
Yes.
so it's more affordable.
And also, well, it's also because, in order to have long-term stable housing for a lot of people who are low income, to have that and to not have to necessarily be renting an apartment or something like that for their entire lives, they, wanted to secure stable home, which is their trailer. That's something that they own. That's something that is their property, their equity. And normally, historically, lot rents have been low in order to maintain that affordable housing structure. And so for Oakwood Properties essentially to come in and acquire an affordable living park and feel no obligation to keep it that way, I think is just horrific in my opinion, just because there are so many residents at Travois Village who are on fixed incomes, whether it's disability, whether it's Social Security, what have you, and to, these rent increases, they're literally making residents have to choose between taking their heart medication or paying rent, or buying food and paying rent. And people should not be put in these situations. These are hardworking, working class Missoula residents. And I think it's a shame that this out-of-state investment company is coming in and, treating them like this. So essentially, when this happened and they were opposed, when Travois Village was first acquired, there was a $200 rent increase, and then this summer there was a $150 rent increase as well. And so after the $150 rent increase, they reached out to us, and from there we helped them organize and sent demand letters and everything like that, and tried to get the needs met. Oakwood Properties also has, in that time sent them 4 different leases, so it was hard to see which ones were binding, and it was just a very kind of confusing situation on their end as well. And so essentially what came to the big launch in September was us finally reaching that super majority, that 71% of residents there. And Travois Village it's huge. It's near I think it's 282 units or so.
Oh, yeah, it's big.
And so there's a lot of people that live there. And so we were really excited to launch and be the first supermajority in Missoula's history, and be there. And we're still fighting with them, and we're excited for what's to come.
So people watching, they can go to the website. Now, they shouldn't get the impression that they have to live in a big building or in a big collection. They could be in a small apartment building. They could be renting a house and still be members of the Missoula Tenants Union.
Correct. So kind of the difference is there's the Missoula Tenants Union, which is just, all of us, a big amalgamation of renters across the city, citywide tenants union. But for instance, like Travois Village Tenants Union, that's just specific to their property because they organized it. So anyone can become a member who's a renter in Missoula. Yeah.
Gotcha. And do you want to go back a little bit to the right to a lawyer in eviction cases?
Yes.
I remember, for some years anyway, at least for University of Montana students, they had like a legal support network of some sort that they would advertise and say, oh, are you a student renter encountering difficulty? You can check in with the university's legal department and they will explain your rights and they'll hear what's going on and advise you, that kind of thing. And that was part of the student activity fee.
Yeah, so essentially what we have been advocating for is a tenant's right to counsel here in Missoula. It is something that we've been advocating for over a year now, and we have everything in place for this program to be implemented in Missoula. The only hangup is that we are still searching for funding for this program, and we've talked extensively to city council members, and we hope that maybe within this next year they can hopefully get on board and want to fund this program, because not only is this a great program across the board, it cuts down on eviction court costs and everything through the city, but also it keeps people in their homes. It keeps people from having to be pushed off the street from an eviction case. And if city council is really serious about wanting to improve that for Missoula residents, because there is such a horrent housing crisis right now in this city, I think it's something that they should really push. So I really do urge if people to write their city council members and ask them to look into getting a tenant's right to counsel passed this year, because right now in an eviction case, it's something along the lines of 95% of landlords have access to a lawyer and only 5% of tenants do. And so from the jump, eviction cases are skewed in favor of the landlord, and that just isn't right, because tenants deserve access to be able to fight these cases and keep their homes.
Yeah, I know the university, for a long time has saw fit to provide that service to students, knowing they're just not going to know what's going on.
Exactly.
And Sam Oliver, who's just here from the Housing Authority, was saying they have a mentorship program for people, that are on their watch, where they're giving them counseling on their legal rights, counseling on building assets, whether it's a savings account or a good credit rating through judicious use of utility and phone bills and stuff like that. I'm going to make sure we got everything. We did that. Well, is there something we left out? Something you want to make sure we cover?
Yeah, if people would like to become members of the Missoula Tenants Union, you can either find those forms through our website or through our Instagram bio. Additionally, you can always come to one of our meetings. We have 2 main meetings.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask, in person, not just website. Because when sometimes people think of union, right, they think like Union Hall down the street, like people are getting together.
Correct. And so we have 2 main meetings a month. One is normally in the first week of every month, and that's our general meeting. That's more of like our business type meeting. And then the 3rd week of every month, we normally have our social and committee meetings, where it's a little bit more informal. We get to hang out, have a little bit of social time, and then also break into different committees and talk about different projects that we're working on. So, it's a great way to get involved. And if you're unsure about if you want to join, please come to one of our meetings. We'd love to tell you all about it. So, if you come to one of our meetings, we can definitely get you signed up to become a member, or you can online. And then once you've submitted that form, essentially, you'll meet with one of our stewards, go through our stewarding process so you can understand how Missoula Tenants Union works. And then from there, we encourage everyone to join a committee to get involved. And like I said, we are looking forward to, everyone's different skill sets, because they all get used at once, eventually. And it's really cool to see what people bring to the table and how talented so many of our members are in different areas.
And it's been around a while. So a lot of people just heard about it over Travel Village in September, but you've been involved multiple years now.
Yes. Yeah. Missoula Tenants Union has been around for, I want to say, between 3.5 to 4 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really excited to kind of be ramping up with all the building organizing that we're planning on doing. And the launch with Travois was just incredible, and getting to know all the community members over there. It just really shows that, like, in a time of so much uncertainty in this world, that we really have to rely on each other for support. Get to know your neighbors, share community resources, share knowledge, because we're not going to get through this tough time alone. And I think it's just really special to have such a wonderful, wonderful community within the Tenants Union. So,
Great.
yeah.
Well, Julie, thanks so much for taking the time to visit with us
Oh, of
today.
course. Thanks for having me.
And thank you, dear viewer, for taking the time to learn more about the Missoula Tenants Union. And if you want to visit the website, maybe Scott, show it one more time, just so people can read the URL. It's MissoulaTenantsUnion.com. So, once again, if you know of a group and you'd like to see them on this program, give us a visit at MCAT. We are MCAT.org, and you can email MCAT@MCAT.org, or you could phone us, 406-542-6228. For MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. Thanks for watching.